Do you feel uncomfortable taking your top off in public? So I don't just mean walking down the road like a chav, you know, in summer, just walking around flexing the pigeon tits. I fucking hate that, by the way. If you're one of these people that walks around in the UK in the summer, around the town centre or wherever it be, and you take your top off, don't watch this and just unsubscribe, get rid. Anyway, I digress. So I lost 7 stone, and even at my skinniest, I didn't want to take my top off. I felt uncomfortable around the belly area. Even now, after all these years, I still feel uncomfortable around the belly area. I'll sit around the pool, and even if I'm sunbathing, I'll put the towel and wrap it around my lower belly. It's just something that I hate doing. You know, I literally hate getting my top off in public. And I guess I wanted to chat just to kind of relate to people, because I think that it's something that is frustrating. You know, you can go through these fitness journeys and you can look the absolute dog's bollocks, and you can look back on pictures from years previous and think, fuck me, I looked well good then. But even in that moment, didn't feel completely comfortable. And it really is something that I think is underlooked. I think lads go through it quite a lot. Obviously lasses go through it as well, but I can't relate to that as much because I'm not a lass. But in terms of lads, you know, I massively sympathise with it. Like, even things like, we've just been on an holiday on a cruise last week, and I would, if say we were sunbathing and I were going to the bar for a drink, I will like automatically just put my vest on or put my top on to go to the bar. And you see fucking Big John, don't you? He's on every single holiday, Big John. I pointed him out to Shannon in this one. I said, that's fucking Big John there. And Big John is the guy who sometimes wears Union Jack shorts. He has got a massive capital D belly, and he's always stood with a pint in his hand. And he always looks so happy and so confident. And I want to catch up with Big John one time. If I weren't going to offend Big John, I want to catch up with him on one of these holidays and say, where do you get that confidence from? But for some reason, anyone who trains to any sort of level doesn't have this, and it is such a strange thing, isn't it, when you think about it? So what I want you to look at are the positives of why you feel this way, which is hard to do. But if you didn't feel this way, you wouldn't progress anywhere near as much as you do, because you give a fuck so much about how you look. It makes you step your game up. So it makes you, I think, when you've got to a certain point, like I've never rebounded like to a ridiculous level. You know, I've had months where I've looked a little bit out of shape, but I've never gone backwards. And I think that the prime reason for that is because I give too much of a fuck about what other people think, and as much of a bad thing as that is, I know, but I do think that is part and parcel of what's kept me on the straight and narrow over all these years. So as much as it is a bad thing, it can be a good thing as well. But I guess what I urge people, I have got better over the years. I must admit, this holiday, I was far less conscious than I have been. And laid next to Shan, who's lean as a baked bean. I don't know why that's the same, by the way. Baked beans aren't that lean. They're quite like small and fat, aren't they? Or is that just another saying that I've made up? But laid next to her, and you know, she's in great shape, and normally that would make me think, fucking hell, and feel even more conscious. But do you know what? It is getting better, and I think the older you get, the less you give a fuck anyway, don't you? But I do think over time it has got better, and it's about pinpointing why that is. I think a lot of the reason mine has got better is to do with my lack of goals in my older age. Don't get me wrong, I still, again, stay in shape, I still train and what have you, but before I was like stepping on stage, I was powerlifting, all the sort of things that kind of require you to look the dog's bollocks, and you have this thing in your head where you think, oh God, do I even look like I lift? God, will that person know that I lift? And really, it's totally irrelevant. But because I've not got like any pressure anymore, like I've done all that, like for me now, yes, I will still go through phases. I'll go through fat loss phases. I'll go through reverse diet phases. Not so much the muscle gain, but that's just because I'm happy where I'm at. Albeit, you know, probably 2 stone of muscle down on where I was at my peak. But do you know what? I'm happy now. I live a really good balanced life. I know when I can get away with pushing food up. I know when I can get away with having 10 beers. I know when I can get away with having a couple of midweek beers. You know, I feel like the balance that I have finally found in my life has caused me now to get to the stage where I don't care as much. Like, I wouldn't walk around Halifax town centre with my top off, but again, as reiterated, I would never do that because it's just pieces of shit that do that. But I wouldn't ever be confident enough to do that. And to be honest, like, you won't probably catch me with it off in the UK at all. But on holiday, to be fair, I were a mile better this time. Still conscious, but a mile better. So I guess the point of my video today is that you're not alone if you do feel like this. If you have been through a massive weight loss journey and that's scarred you, or if from the absolute other end of it, if you were a skinny lad or a skinny girl growing up and you just always feel conscious because of that, it's the same, you know. And I suppose what I'm trying to get at is that it's not always a bad thing. It shows that you give a fuck. It shows that you're not a massive bell end. It shows that you're not a show off. And it shows that you actually want your goals. You know, you want to carry on looking better. You want to keep progressing. So don't be so hard on yourself.